Look closely at how we usually define power. We picture vast armies marching in formation, or mountains of gold piling up in vaults. But those are just the outward symptoms of control. The actual mechanics of power rely on an unseen force. Consider the possibility that the world's most invincible weapon isn't a physical object you can hold, but an absence, a deficit you create in someone else. To test that idea, we look to the royal court of the 16th century Mughal Empire, specifically the capital at Fatehpur Sikri. Here, absolute monarchs controlled unimaginable wealth and resources, yet even they struggled to identify the actual root of their authority until a specific experiment put it to the test. Emperor Akbar posed a challenge to his advisors: identify the single greatest power on earth. The courtiers offered predictable answers. Some argued for the supremacy of military force. Others pointed to the empire's vast treasury and financial reach. Akbar rejected all of them. Then, his chief advisor, Birbal, arrived with a different answer. He stated that the highest form of power is simply human need. Akbar dismissed the idea. To an emperor, basic necessity was a peasant's problem. He couldn't see how a common want could outmaneuver imperial resources. Birbal stopped debating the philosophy. Instead, he proposed a controlled behavioral experiment to prove his claim. Birbal selected a test subject, the wealthiest, most arrogant aristocrat in the capital. This man was placed inside a secure, isolated chamber. The room was stocked with luxury goods and gold, but Birbal removed all basic sustenance, no food and no water. At hour zero, the subject was calm. He sat among the gold, confident that his status and wealth made him untouchable. By removing the outside world, Birbal created a vacuum where raw biology and human ego were the only two variables left in the room. As biological deprivation sets in, the subject's psychological state experiences a steep drop. At this inflection point, he realizes his gold has zero purchasing power. Primal drives for thirst and hunger bypass the logical brain, leading to a total collapse of his arrogance. The experiment ended when the aristocrat collapsed to his knees at the locked door. He begged the guards for release, offering to trade his entire fortune for a single glass of water. Birbal dominated the most powerful man in the city. He simply weaponized a deficit. Watching this, Akbar recognized the reality. All accumulated wealth and status are subordinate to biological survival. This maps to a core framework in modern psychology, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Birbal's experiment targeted this bottom tier, physiological needs. That foundational base must be satisfied first. Concepts like financial wealth and societal status cannot exist until the physical requirements for survival are met. Need acts as a universal equalizer. It strips away bank accounts and titles, reducing emperors and peasants to the exact same biological vulnerabilities. This dynamic remains a core driver of modern human behavior. We see it play out today in high-stakes negotiations and market strategies that prioritize identifying a target's specific, unmet needs. When a person's underlying need reaches a critical threshold, their leverage evaporates. Their ability to negotiate drops to zero. Control is rarely determined by the assets you possess. Supreme power lies in possessing exactly